That's what I'm thinking happened in the last 6 months. Nothing about GameStop is normal. Nothing about news you hear about GameStop in TV is normal. Nothing that they wrote in Benzinga, that's all different websites, that news agency is normal. I don't trust any of them.
Hi everyone. Before we start, I want to take a minute to talk about my next book. You may have heard about the story of GameStop in January or February and thought it was all over. You're sadly mistaken. Unfolding online has been a clash between the corrupt practices of Wall Street and the hive mind of the internet. It's a hot, raging information war pitting retail investors against financial giants swimming in corruption and fraud. The trailer is at the end of this podcast, but if you want to help crowdfund the book or just find out more, you can sign up to my mailing list to get access to a preview of chapter 1 or go to wenmoon.com to read more about the book. The first 200 people to pre-order the book will get a free pack of To The Moon crayons with their book. I just want to make a quick mention of our sponsors. Namecheap are one of the cheapest places on the internet to get a domain name for your next website. I've used Namecheap for all the sites I've ever purchased and have found it really easy to use. Spreaker are a rapidly growing platform for podcast recording, publishing, and monetization, with pricing plans as low as $7 per month. A cheap way to host your podcast and start earning from your back catalog of shows. Finally, ExpressVPN is the internet's most trusted VPN. Protect your privacy and watch and view content that is location locked. You could even try watching Netflix from a different country. And right now, they're offering 35% off 12 months of ExpressVPN. Please use the links in the description below if you want to support the show. Anyway, here's the podcast. Hello and welcome to another episode of Chatter. Today I am joined by Mo Hormozzadeh, who is a level 3 candidate as a chartered financial analyst, an NYU Master of Financial Engineering, and a Bachelor in Economics. Mo, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah, no problem. So I think quite a few other people involved in the GameStop community, discovered you about a week or two ago when you and quite a lot of other people started posting on LinkedIn about this. It's been really interesting to watch that happen, but we'll get into that. But before we start, why don't you give just like a little background on yourself and who you are?
So at first, when I was in my hometown, Mashhad, it's a religious city in Iran, I went to university. I started a bachelor degree of business administration. So I was a very good student. I was like third of my class. And then I was introduced to some political activists in the university. So the problem is we don't have freedom of speech in Iran. But when you go to university, there is a little bit more freedom. You can have journals there and write a little bit more because it's only distributed during the university. So I'm interested by them because most in Iran, if you want to have a journal, somebody is responsible for owning the journal and somebody is responsible for whatever you wrote in the journal. You wrote in the journal. So, and this political student, most of them, they didn't have very good grade. They couldn't pay the money they need for publishing the magazine. So I had all of them together. I had a shop in Iran. I sold watch and jewelry there. So I started a magazine, which in a way I provide freedom of speech to the people in my university. So we started a magazine. We published a magazine. Then there was a 2008 election in Iran. Then the things get intense after the election. They closed down my magazine the first time, and then we opened another magazine. And the second time there was, the country was, gone crazy over the election. And then the government come and, they take me with them. I was at my shop. A couple of people came to me. It's not like America. They give you a paper. They just take you away. They took me to my home. They search all the house, and then they put me into arrest in their specific location. I mean, I couldn't even see. They closed my eyes. They put me in the car, and then they took me. So that was, I mean, start of the political career. So I was there for 16 days. But I mean, still Iranian jails is different than, I mean, foreign countries. I mean, I was in the solitary confinement. I was alone there. There is no bed. 24/7, you see a light on your head. You know, they don't even turn off the light. So there's a camera and 24/7 light on your head. So it's really hard to sleep there. You know, there are different things. I mean, a lot of, I mean, difficulty. As I said, I mean, it's taking there, and it was a very hard time for me that time. You know, and what of the main differences in when you catch you in Iran, I mean, compared to the Western world, is that in Iran, when they catch you, they don't tell you what you did. They
Mm.
put a paper in front of you and they tell you, okay, you tell us what you did. You don't have a lawyer there. We don't have lawyer. I mean, you can't even call anybody there. You know, it's just cell. Every day they come and pick you, put you in a different room and ask you question. And at the time, it was so crowded. One day they put me in the you, you know, in a room that was for all the electricity and, you know, the contours, when you can turn off all the light. I mean, if I could turn off the cold jail electricity by myself, but I didn't dare. So that was, I mean, my experience during the Iran. And then after a while, I mean, they released me. The thing is, enemy of any dictator is exposure. Okay, their friend is propaganda, their enemy is exposure. So because I was famous in my university, you know, we published like 4,000, I mean, we published a magazine, and then we distributed between 4,000 people. So it was the biggest political magazine in university in the whole country. So everybody knows my name. You know, the other side were so angry because, you know, I spent a lot of money publishing a lot of newspaper. They didn't even have that much money. I mean, the group that are following the government, like the Basijis, we call them Basijis. So they were so mad. You know, when I was in university, one time they called my stepfather to the university. I mean, who called somebody's father to university? You know, they tell him, yeah, your son is very good, but his political activism is gonna hurt him. You know,
Mm.
and then they expel me from university after a while. And then as an act of civil disobedience, I bought sweets for the whole university, and then I distribute sweets in the whole university. So when they catch me, and then the prosecutor come and said, what's wrong with you? We expel you from university, you distribute sweet to everybody. You know,
What,
I
just
said, I mean, that's,
like chocolate or something?
yeah. I mean, yeah, we have a special, I mean, we have a shops in Iran, we call it sweet shops. Like I can send you the picture later. So it's a sweet. I mean, it's a big pack of sweets, and then people eat it. You know, it's a
Okay.
normal thing. You know. And then the other thing was, he was so angry. He said, "Okay, you have a shop, you have a job, you have money. So what's your problem? Why you are? I mean, talking against the government. I mean, I couldn't say to him, but I mean, because I couldn't take it anymore. You know, there is no freedom of speech.
Mm.
I mean, even nowadays in America or Western world, you don't have that much freedom of speech. You know, people
Mm.
getting banned in Twitter. Now, a lot of people, I mean, now even some people who talking about stocks. I mean, some young people in America who talking about GameStop, AMC, and different, I mean, stock, they just get banned from YouTube.
Hmm.
Happened a couple of days ago, you
Yeah,
know?
well, it happened with a few people.
It feels very frustrating for me to see. I mean, I'm coming from a country without freedom of speech to a country supposedly has freedom of speech, but I don't feel it anymore. You know?
Hmm. Yeah, that's gotta be difficult. Is there like a mouse or a pen or something clicking? It's just really
Oh,
loud on
sorry,
the mic.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. No, it's just yeah, it's like the mic is just picking it up quite loudly.
That's right.
No, it's all right. Don't worry. Um, did so did do you have
any idea what specifically that you were saying that was so bad towards the government, or do you think it was just the whole idea that you were even criticizing them at all?
So it was first. I had a magazine called Judge. It's like a grass that camels eat in the desert, but they can't eat it. It's like gum for them, you know. So we named the first magazine there. I, they come with some technicality that it was bi-week magazine and you didn't publish bi-week, so they close us. We start another one, and then one of the main reason that I got expelled was because I never checked what whoever wrote in my magazine. I didn't care. I said write whatever you want. So one of them we criticized very badly. Of government. Let me tell you things first. It wasn't like that. We just publish everything we want. It was a hard process. You know, one time I went to a publishing company. They sent my magazine to intelligence service. So I went there to take my magazine out, and the intelligence service comes to me and said, "Okay, we gotta go." They took me to, we have in Iran we have a publication ministry, something like that. So they check everything that is published, so they sure it's not that against the government. So they took me there, and then each of them they have their they have their own FBI or the police inside them, which is mostly is IRGC, the Iranian military force. Not the official, the unofficial one. So they took me there. They took the magazine. That was the process. So that's happened a lot of time. And then some of them they just didn't publish it. They said, okay, we can't publish it. We are not gonna pay the price for you to just say something you want. And then the last time that the last time that they completely cut us off was that we wrote. I don't remember the exact date or what exactly we wrote, but one of the reason was that we wrote something very bad about the supreme leader, and then also the other reason that they catch me and put me in jail was that because I participate in a lot of university protests. University protest in Iran is a little safer than outside protest because according to the law they can't bring police inside, but there is undercover police all over the place. And my friends call me that I swallow a megaphone. I have a very I shout very badly. So I was all the time. I was in the front row, shouting, chanting the slogans and different stuff. So all this combines together, and then if I'm not wrong, the time that they catch me a couple of people who wrote in my magazine, and at the same time they they put the opposition leader of Green Movement in Iran to the house arrest. So at the same time they come they attack every opposition they could.
So so you said that you were in there for 16 days in jail, and then they released you. Do you know why they released you?
So that's the thing, that the main prosecutor come to me. I told you that he said, "What are you doing this?" Because my grandfather was the guy who built a very big furniture factory in my province. So he was a very famous and very loved person, and my family is like, they know my family name in my hometown.
Mm-hmm.
So I was famous, and in the university I published, a very big magazine. So everybody in university know my name. And as I said, dictators hate exposure.
Mm-hmm.
So the moment they catch me, some people within the magazine, they send my name to all the different media out there. So BBC, which if you have time later, I'm going to talk, but we don't like BBC that much anymore. Because we consider BBC Persian as a propaganda arms for Islamic Republic. We really hate BBC in Iran right now. So they sent my name to the different websites, so everybody knows that I'm arrested. So even I think VOA also said my name as a, I mean, arrested student in at the time.
Mm.
So because of that, and because I have a very, I mean, well-known family in my city, they couldn't, keep me that much longer, because they don't, because in Iran when they catch you, they don't tell you you did something,
Mm-hmm.
then they catch you, then they come with the excuse to keep you, that's
Mm.
that's the way how it's working in Iran.
Mm. So they don't actually tell you your crime, and therefore you're not sure what you've done wrong, and therefore you're not just cautious about doing, say, the thing that they've said anymore. You're cautious about everything you do.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I still remember after I think like 10 years, they put you in front of a table, and there is a writing in front of you. It says in Arabic, "An nejatu fi which means your freedom is upon your truthfulness.
Mm.
So every room they have that like table up there. I mean, you can see it, and they tell you, okay, you write whatever you do. You just need to write, hours and hours of writing. If you don't know what I mean,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
to.
Yeah, that's really disturbing, and it's like, obviously not to compare the two things, but it's kind of similar to the way that a lot of social media companies are banning people, in that they don't tell them exactly what they're banning them for. They just ban them, and then people come, when they're then allowed back on the platform, then they're more cautious about everything. It's like, obviously, again, nowhere near the same like level of
Yeah, I
prosecution,
mean,
but
I had the same experience. I mean, I get banned a lot of time from, I mean, Twitter, and then a lot of time, I mean, because I say what I want to say, I
yeah.
don't care.
Yeah, yeah. So then you were released, thankfully. And at what point did you decide to leave Iran? Like, how long after that did you decide to come to America?
So they released me. Then I had like one semester left to finish my university. I think 20 credit. I mean, I went a couple of times to university, but I couldn't take it anymore. There were a lot of morality police. These people coming, uh, forcing. I mean, I don't know, the girls to wear their hijab. If they have color in their nails, they want to take it out. I mean, it was really frustrating. I couldn't take it. So I said, I don't care about the university. I'm just gonna leave. So I went to North Cyprus, which is one of the easiest way for Iranian, because Iran and Turkey has a agreement. We don't need visa to go there. North Cyprus, if you know the Cyprus situation, it's an island
Hmm.
under the Turkey. Half of it is Turkish part, half of it is the Greek part.
Yeah.
So the Turkish part is considered part of the Turkey. So we could go there. It's a very nice island, very good university, very cheap. You don't need any TOEFL or any prerequisite. You just go register there and go to university. So I went there. I finished my 4 year bachelor in 3 years. I mean, I was the number one student in my class. Then I apply for NYU and come to the US. I mean, North Cyprus is very small. That when I get accepted to NYU, they put me in their newspaper and the university website. If you go there, you can see my picture. That they are happy that I'm coming from EMU to NYU.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it's a great story, man. Like, it's inspiring. It's truly like what people hold up as the American dream. Like someone came like worked hard, came from another country, and has you know done really well for themselves. So all credit to you, and much respect for both what
Thank you
you
so
did
much.
in Iran, and for getting out. That takes a yeah. It's kind of been an easy time. So
Yeah.
then fast forward a little bit, and we get to present day, and we are you've yeah you're sort of, what is your understand well yeah before we start on GameStop, what's your sort of background in finance and investing, and your knowledge and education on that?
So I mean, I studied financial engineering at NYU. I mean, from the first semester, I get a job at university as an assistant. I
What
mean,
is
I was
sorry what is financial engineering, just for anyone that doesn't
so
know, and also for myself?
financial engineering is combination of mathematics, programming, and finance. So you combine all this. I mean, area together, it's become financial engineering. So you try to use the economics and mathematics and finance together to understand, different product in the market, financial markets, or different aspect. But you can choose. Mostly I was studying. Most of my course was like corporate finance to understand better understanding the companies. What they do, cash flow, the fundamentals.
Hmm.
And then I start trading from the beginning. So I open a Robinhood account like everybody else at the time. Start trading different, stock and option, and then after graduation, I just keep trading for myself. Keep continuing trading for myself, and uh, we came to the GameStop situation.
Yeah, yeah. So how did you? Where did you first hear about GameStop, and what was your like first initial reaction to it when you first saw what was happening?
So, in order to understand GameStop situation, I think we should go back in time a little bit. So, what's happened is that everybody heard Melvin Capital and Gabe Plotkin. So, he's the CEO of Melvin Capital. So, I just checked. A couple of days ago, there was a news that says Melvin Capital in the first year, 70% of their profit come from shorting. Okay, so what they do is that they find a stock that is overvalued and then they short it. But what they do actually really is that they find a very bad company that they think they're gonna go bankrupt. So they shorting it not in the small amount to stock go down, they shorting it massively. Okay. GameStop, if we accept that the number was real, the highest short was 140%.
Hmm.
Okay. So we have it 140% shorting GameStop, and then you have to add the situation, which is nobody ever heard that Wall Street, when they find out a way to make money, they're gonna stop making money from that. Okay, so what does when you short a company 140%, if the stock go to zero, you pay nothing and you get back your stock. So first of all, nobody knows if the 440% is the real number, because when you short 100% of the stock and you go over 100, what stops you to, stop shorting it? When you believe that the stock go to zero, the more you short it, it's gonna go down faster, and then you just buy it for zero, and then nothing has happened. But the first mistake that they made was that they forgot to ask one question: what if this company doesn't go bankrupt?
Hmm.
Okay, so they sold massive number of stocks. I'm sorry say this. I forgot to say something about the position. When you GameStop had 50 million shares. Okay,
Mhm.
they short 140%, which is 70 million shares. The first crime that happened and nobody talking about is that where did that 70 million shares goes? Because in order for Melvin to make money out of this short, they sell it to somebody. Somebody has to buy it. There is other side of each trade. Somebody has to buy that 70 million. And then that 70 million should go to zero for Melvin to make money. Okay? So where did that 70 million go? Who bought that? You're selling something and you're telling people, this value is going down. It's a short sell trade. So everybody on the other side knows that this stock is going down. So where did all these stocks go? It's go to average American. They probably put it in some ETF. They put it in some, because a lot of people, they don't trade the stock. They just had a big bank trading for them. They said, okay, we know this stock is good. We just allocate that. So they shorted 770 million shares, and then they put it through all these different people account, because somebody has to pay that.
Mhm.
And nobody talk about that. That's one of the first crime actually that's happened. Who bought that 70 million shares?
Mhm.
Then we coming to today. Now they're saying, okay, we're gonna buy back those shares, but we are not gonna pay you the price that is market. We're gonna pay you less. So they want all those shares that they sold you and they told you it's worthless. They want to buy it back at the cheap price. So this is the first situation in GameStop.
Mhm.
Then the other thing about GameStop is that if you check the news every single day, it's like a smear campaign. They just try to destroy this company with every single way possible. The guy come on CNBC, he talk about, yeah, the game people don't buy game from GameStop. They buy it from their console, which is true, but incomplete.
Mm.
They don't give you the whole picture. You go to GameStop website, they're selling TVs now. You look, they're selling only Vizios. The brand is Vizio, if I'm not mistaken. So they're selling TV, but it's only one brand. And you go there to see everything is sold off. It's sold out. There is no Vizio, just maybe one or two model. So GameStop is using this membership. They have 65 million Power Up membership. So they're using this membership and they're trying to come up with a uh, different segments of the retail of the retail industry. And then they don't talk about the different aspect of gaming. GameStop is going to go to the online gaming tournaments. They're gonna go to the probably streaming services. There are like I think 4 million investors, if we assume that number is correct. So imagine this 4 million. They see that GameStop offering a streaming service. Do they go to Facebook or Amazon or YouTube, make Google and Facebook and Jeff Bezos rich, or do they come to their own company and make themselves rich?
Mm.
That's the real power of GameStop. Because this the word is investumers. Investumers is a long-term investor who is also a customer. So these investors who believe in their company, who believe in their stock, they're gonna change their behavior and they're gonna shop and spend more money in the GameStop. And then GameStop is gonna come up with the new different ideas. They already have like GameStop eSport Twitter handle. Ryan Cohen is a guy who like puzzles. He doesn't. He said that in the meeting, I think, with some of the investors, that I'm not gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do it. Because I don't want to create hype. I'm gonna do it. You're gonna see what I'm gonna do, what I'm changing. And if you go to the website, you can see they are slowly adding different parts. The PC is coming, the TV is coming. Vizio is the first one. They just start selling one brand of TV. Imagine with this amount of investor, with this amount of love toward GameStop, they go bring another brand of TV. They're gonna go bring your phone. So it's easily next year. A lot of people, I think, buy their phone from GameStop, buy their TV from GameStop, buy their accessories from GameStop. They have different part of the company that nobody in Wall Street is talking about, and that is completely deliberate because they benefit from bankruptcy GameStop. It's just, I mean, I don't know if you ever watch TV series The Man Who Built America. So
I don't think I have.
So it's a movie. It's a documentary, near documentary talking about John D. Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, and J.P. Morgan. So J.P. Morgan has a competitor in the electronic industry. So he created a smear campaign against them, and then he comes and says, yeah, the companies who had a lot of debt, and then they're gonna be in trouble. So try to destroy the competitor's stock. What we see right now, it's exactly the same thing in the GameStop situation. These people are coming, yeah, GameStop is bad. They can't sell, games. Who cares? They sell something else. It's not that they are forced. It's capitalists. They can sell whatever they want. As Ryan Cohen, a great guy, a great investor, a well-deserved billionaire in America. Ryan Cohen is the only billionaire in America that nobody care how much money he's gonna make. Everybody love in America to see Ryan Cohen become richer.
Yeah.
See? So these millions of people, they are happy to make money themselves, and they are happy that this guy is taking responsibility, taking the change that this company needs, and because they're gonna have a great future.
I mean, I would say that there is like Elon Musk as a billionaire.
Yeah,
I think
Elon
there's,
Musk. I agree. I agree.
but
Elon Musk
he
is.
also gets a lot of hate.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I never heard that anybody hates Ryan Cohen. Not a single
No.
person, except the guys from Wall Street who try to destroy the GameStop.
Yeah, that's interesting that you raised the point of the investumers. I hadn't heard that term. That's an interesting term. And I think you're totally right. Actually, that's something that I have not seen really talked about at all. Even like apart from on Reddit, basically, I haven't seen it mentioned or even like brought up that they have not just got a whole bunch of people invested in the company and they've used the hype to a lot of people have pointed out they've used the hype to, they sold 5 million shares. They got $1.7 billion in capital to spend now, no, and they're debt free. But they have,
Yeah, you just divide that number by the number of shares. It's like $15 in cash. So how do you put a price target of like $20 if you know this company has $15 per share in cash? They have in cash. They have 6,000 new jobs at GameStop. I want you to go to their website, go to the career. You see that they are hiring more than 6,000 people
holy shit,
right now in
6,000
GameStop.
people. Wow.
If a company go bankrupt, why would you hire 6,000 new people? It just doesn't make sense. The numbers don't add up in the case of GameStop.
Mm.
And then you go to the technicals. Yeah, we have a professor at NYU. She said something. She said, but she didn't say idiot, but I'm just saying. She said if you put an idiot in front of a tick chart for a couple of days, it's watching one single stock. He or she is gonna come up with some idea about trading the stock. So I watch GameStop tick. Every transaction through my view. Well, it's not complete, but it's okay. So every time the price of the GameStop is coming down, it's in hundreds. Okay, it's like 100, 200, 300. So it shows that it's a big money. It's a big corporation. And what they do is that they trade with each other. Company A sell 100, company B buy that 100 at $200, for example. Then company B sell that 100 shares at $199. Company A buy it, and then they bring the price down. Because in the case of GameStop, then the thing is the number of shares is very limited. It was 50 million, now it's like 50 something million. It's small, okay? So when you get this amount of massive exposure and then 65 million power up, members, so that creates the situation that we are in.
It's quite shocking. What is your sense on? I've seen a lot of people talking about, and you kind of mentioned this at the beginning when we started talking about GameStop. Here is that the initial crime was that they have sold 140% of the stock to people. Do you want to just explain why that is a crime specifically?
Okay, so I'm not. So 140%. So how the shorts work? Let's go. I'm not sure. How many of your listeners I know exactly the short, so I'm going to explain it. So a normal person buy a stock at, for example, $10, and then the price go up $20. You sell it or you keep it as a long-term investment. You make money or you sell. A short seller come borrow somebody's stock, sell it at the market. If the stock go down, he buy it back and give the stock back. Okay.
Yeah.
At this hedge fund has a different methodology. It said, okay, we borrow the stock, but we sell it, but we don't buy it back. We know these companies go bankrupt. We wait until it goes zero and we buy it for zero. So, sorry, I mixed up. Can you tell me your question again?
Yeah, it's so you mentioned
the crime. Why it's a crime? So these people come and borrow 50 million shares. Let's assume that short is just 100%.
Yeah.
They borrow 50 million shares and they sold it to somebody. The question is, who bought those 50 million shares? If a banks buy that shorted shares, first they know it's not a real share. It's just to borrow somebody, they're gonna give it back. Secondly, they know that the other side thinks this stock is worthless. No banks is willing to hold that, and if they do, they know that they're gonna lose money. Okay, So they have to transfer those laws to somebody else. The question is, we don't know where those stocks goes. Did they go to your grandma's pension fund? Did they go to the police pension fund? Where did those stocks goes?
Mm.
When you sell something, you know it's worthless to somebody, which they know that's worthless, which is banks or broker, but those banks or broker don't keep the position.
Mhm.
They distribute it between people. Somebody has to pay, somebody has to lose money in order for a short seller to win money,
Mhm.
make money. Okay? In an actual term, when you have 50 million shares and 50 million short, you have 100 million shares. So $2 in a total market cap need to be destroyed for $1 of the short selling to make money. I'm not against short selling. You know, I like, there is a lot of good short seller. Like there was one documentary in Netflix. I forgot the lady name, Fahima something. So he come up with a company, Valiant Pharmaceutical.
Mhm.
So it was a fraud company.
Mhm.
I mean, the short seller brought that company because they know it's a fraud. They work hard, they understand it, and the company stock went down to, I mean, very low level, like from 500 to 100 to $10, something like that.
Yeah. Was this
So
the
short selling is not
documentary,
bad.
the China short?
No, it was a Valiant Pharmaceutical.
Okay.
It was a pharmaceutical company, but what they did was that they buy small pharmaceutical company, they increase the price like 1,000% to 10,000%, and then they make money that way. You know, they run the pharmaceutical like a hedge fund, and then they create a lot of different fake pharmacies to pay themselves. You know, it was a very big fraud. But the short sellers are actually did a good job there. But here they just forget one question: what if the company didn't go bankrupt? They missed that question, and that question is costing them everything, costing the big hedge fund, costing the market maker. Because when you short something, the buying a stock starts with buying and finish with selling. When you short something, it starts with selling and finish with buying. You have to buy something you don't have.
Mhm.
And these people who bought these diamond hands investors who bought this stock are not selling. If they don't sell, you can't buy.
Mm.
If these people just keep their stock, these people cannot buy. So there is a massive demand of the stock.
Mhm.
And then on the supply side, there is no supply. These people buying and holding,
Mhm.
you know. So that the supply is going vertical, the demand is keep going higher and higher. The stock price theoretically should go higher and higher.
Mhm.
Why it doesn't? It's market manipulation.
Mm.
They just NYSE CEO just said a couple of days ago that more than 50% of the trades happen in the dark pool. Who trade in the dark pool? Who, I mean, in a simple sense, who trade in the dark alleys? The criminals, the people who don't want their trade to be shown by other people. You know, why would you go to the dark pool? They just don't want people to see it.
Mm.
And then you mentioned Reddit. I mean, a lot of people. If and I don't know if you are active in Reddit or not.
Mhm.
If you see in CNBC, in a lot of these blue check mark Twitter people, they're talking about Wall Street Bet.
Mhm.
But the truth is, Wall Street Bet is dead for 6 months.
Yeah.
Nobody talk about them. Nobody talk about Wall Street Bet is just dead.
Mm.
People who like GameStop is going to Super Song, GME, and then one GME jungle. They're creating different things. I mean, there are some drama in. I didn't participate. I don't know what happened actually.
Yeah, it's been. I
So
will not go into the drama. It's
yeah,
been.
yeah, yeah. So when you see these people in CNBC deliberately, like Jim Cramer, come and say, yeah, Wall Street Bet or Market Rebellion, the Nigerian brother, come and said, Wall Street Bet talking about this. Wall Street Bet is dead. Nobody talk about this. They come up with a name like Club. You go check go check who owned the club. You see, like there was a company, Greenhouse Oak, something like that. They own the whole float, but people say no. This is what's that? It's the common stock, but it's not A type. It's a B type. I mean, it doesn't matter. They talk about cloud, the stock go up, the A type, B type, any type of stock of that company is gonna go higher.
Mm.
They change it to, type A. So we are in a the thing is, I really feel like now I live in a propaganda against GameStop, the same way I feel when I was in Iran, that I feel about everything in Iran. In Iran, the life is a propaganda. I'm a guy who until 20 years old, I never missed a prayer in my life. Every Ramadan, I fast and stuff, but I escaped that propaganda.
Mm. Yeah, I mean,
I was
it's a lot of people would say that it sounds a bit crazy unless it was coming from someone who had actually experienced what you have experienced. Because yeah, the level of the disconnect between what we see on like the mainstream press and then what you see is like actually happening has like the whole GameStop saga has just revealed to me, like I knew the press was corrupt, but I mean I didn't realize just how far from reality what they were presenting is. Like when there's like a couple of like the first of all, when you mention Wall Street bets, I've seen some theories that I buy into this idea that Wall Street bets only exists now as a place for pump and dump schemes, and as somewhere to have like a scapegoat on the internet to blame for things. Because like you can, because Jim Cramer isn't going to sit there and explain how Wall Street Bets isn't actually populated by the people who are he's not going to sit and explain like the progression of different subreddits and like communities that have evolved and developed and moved. He's just going to say, when they say Wall Street Bets and the Reddit traders, people who aren't paying attention just think, oh, okay, like there isn't thought put into it, and people still consider them to be credible. Like, at what point do you think they lose that credibility? Like where does it like break, where they're yeah, like people don't look at them and say, oh, they must know, they must be right, they know what they're talking about. Like, where does that change?
So that's the thing. Exposure. Every time, so I fight a lot of times in Reddit. Wall Street bets, just nowadays I just put like memes, they just delete my memes. It's getting crazy. So the more exposure we have, the better. The problem in Reddit, which even happen in the new like super song and different subreddit, is that they are against publishing your positions.
Mm-hmm.
So what I have problem with Reddit is that they said don't publish your position. That's a very wrong action. Because a short seller know how much they short, but a retail doesn't know how much they own. Okay, they have access to the data by publishing your position, by publishing your position in Reddit. You can understand the magnitude of the real short interest.
Mm.
And I don't know why a lot of moderators are against that. Maybe there are some rules or Reddit put pressure on them. I don't know, but just the only way we can win this battle is by more exposure. I try one time in Wall Street bet before, in like January, I start a pool. So ask people, how many GameStop do you have? The, I mean, I found out like around 200,000 shares between 2,000 people. It's not. It's not the very correct number, because
Mm.
you don't know how many people are lying. But here the situation, we don't know the exact short number.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if it's 100%, if it's 1,000%, or if it's 200%. We don't know that. They know that. They don't publish it. The short seller, the hedge fund, it's a self-reporting system. They just report, I have this much shorts. They get fined left and right. They get fined. Okay, you wrote it's, as a long it's a short.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody checked them. The fine already priced in a trade. So when they trade and they lie about the trade, they know how much they're gonna pay fine, and they know how much they're gonna make profit. So they just don't care about the the fines. And then a couple of I think last week I found out a guy who worked at SEC, then directly he went to Citadel. So it's like a guy who working at DA. I don't know if you have
Who,
DA in UK.
who went from the SEC to Citadel?
I'm gonna.
Yeah, if you would look for that, that'd be great. And just while you're looking for that, I would say that I think the reason that people on Reddit don't want to publish their positions is because of two reasons. First of all, it kind of goes against the idea of anonymity on Reddit, and it also provides a list of people who are holding the shares to hedge funds and how much they hold. And I think that they're suspicious of publishing any kind of information on that front. And but the positive thing is that, like, I mean, I've been looking a lot at the possibility of the NFT dividend that that Ryan Cohen has hinted at, and like people have been talking about a lot. And if I've understood what they've put in the prospectus and what they've sort of put out there very sort of quietly, they are trying to make a way to reveal what the short interest is or how many shares are in circulation. And either that's going to be through a fractional NFT, so they will have an NFT for the whole company and they will fractionalize it and distribute it, or they will distribute like one per share and put it out there. Now, I will have an article out about this, probably actually around the same time as this podcast drop. So I'll link it if it's out, and if not, people, you can watch out for that on my Twitter or whatever. So I guess that people are hoping that they don't need to reveal their investment position, that that Ryan Cohen and GameStop will find a way to reveal that entire short interest.
That's the thing. I mean, the big hedge funds, you know, the number of let me put it this way, the number of shorts in GameStop, that single number is worth billions of dollars. If you know how many shares of GameStop is shorted right now, that's worth billions of dollars. God knows how much. So here is the thing: these investors, they know, each person know how much they long is stock, okay? And these hedge funds know how much they short in total, but the average Joey doesn't know how much the short is out there. So that's why I'm against not posting people posting their position, because that will help the average investor to see the reality. Okay, it said I have this much, my friend has that much, so it seems it doesn't make sense to have only 10% short interest. That number is just not right. And the guy I was talking to was Ryan Van Grack. So he went from SEC to Citadel. So it's like a DA agent quit his job and go for a drug lord afterward. Said, okay, I'm working for DA, killing the drug lords. Now I'm going to work for them. It doesn't make sense, you know? So that creates conflict of interest. How we know that this guy, when he was in SEC, pursue anything on Citadel? Or how we know that if he finds something, didn't strong arm them to get a better job there?
Yeah.
It's a common practice in the industry. It doesn't make sense at all. You know?
Yeah.
If this happened in my country, I don't mind. I've said it's a corrupted country. But when it's happened in the United States, you can't say that. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Either you work for a good guy for the betterment of your society, or you don't. You can't play both sides, you know?
Yeah, I guess that's what a lot of people are trying to do here. So the last thing I kind of wanted to ask you was about whether you believe the price is being manipulated and how that would be so. Because for example, one of the things that has confused me beyond belief, and it's convinced me that there is no doubt in my mind, at least, the price is being manipulated, is that every single time there's good news that would normally mean like a jump in a stock price, like positive earning reports, like new board members hiring, exciting announcements about the company. Every single time something good happens, the price goes down. And
So
even when we see like 80% or 80-20 buy ratios, the price is either staying the same or going down. Like, is that theoretically possible in a market where it's not being manipulated? Like, is there a way that that could happen, or is that just pure manipulation?
okay, so let's check the stock price. The stock price in January went to 480.
Mhm.
Then there was a drop in like 5 minutes. If you check the candles, it's in 30 minutes, but every time it's dropped from 480 to 115, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
The stock went down to 1/4 in matter of minutes, like 6 or 7 consecutive minutes. Every time it just creates a candle, drop, because NYSE has some stop in order. When the stock drop like 10% in a minute, they just stop trading it for 5 minutes and then again.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason the stock went from 480 to 115 is that they want to take out everybody who is leveraged on GameStop. So what they do, if you have like 25% leverage at the top, the stock go from 480 to 150, your account is closed. They close your account in January 27. This is the first time they did it. Then again, this happened in like 2 months ago. Let me check the exact time. So a couple of months ago, it went from 350 to half in exactly a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
The reason is that the market maker come after your stops. So this is the first manipulation they did.
Mm-hmm.
The second one was when was it? I think it was on March.
Yeah, March. I think it was March 11th. It hit its last
Yes.
big peak.
So the drop was half. If you check the number, it's in half, because if you have 50% in leverage, the price dropped by 50%. You're done. They take your stock for zero. They take your stock, give it back to the short seller. So this is the first thing. Then Wall Street has some phenomenon called sell the news. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
buy the rumor, sell the news.
Yes. So what they claim that happening in GameStop is that, yes, everybody knows it's gonna be a good earning, so they start selling it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just check the tick, the easiest way to find out what's happening in the stock is just check every transaction. For example, I use Webull. Some people say it's not that good. You can't trust that much Webull, but I mean, as a foreigner, it's the easiest app to get in. So if you check the Webull, every time the price is at any price, slowly the retail investor buying one, two, three, four, five. You see the small demand is coming.
Mm-hmm.
And every time the stock is just dropping, it's just big hundreds of massive blocks of trade. They call it lot. Every 100 stock, they call it lot. So lots of trade is happening in a very fast move.
Mm-hmm.
But in normal stock, that doesn't happen. You don't see that moves in a normal stock. These movements are not reflecting anything related to the technical or fundamental value of the GameStop. GameStop, the demand for the stock is slowly increasing every time. I mean, these investors, they are not only just buying and holding the stock, they also buy stock in a periodical matter. I mean, you see people in Reddit, they're talking about, I didn't have dinner tonight because I bought all of my money in GameStop. So a lot of these people are really believe in GameStop, and this creates a shortage of supply. There is no supply of GameStop to trade 5 million shares a day. Mm-hmm. There is no shares. Where these shares comes from? This dark pools, where these shares come from? Who has those shares that you are trading every day? 5 million shares. And then the good thing about GameStop is, if you see the volume is slowly decreasing. Mm-hmm. These new rules come up. I mean, these people, they are very, very hardworking people in Reddit, every time there is a rule change, they go over all the rules, they read all these pages, they explain it in a very nice matter. So these rules also come in, and this decrease the power of short seller in order to short more stock, because uh, when they short more and they want to keep those short after hours, normally they need to provide more collateral. And then on the other side, you just check the Melvin Capital, I mean, return. You see, you see on. I forgot to tell you something. If you do you know Andrew Ross Sorkin? He's a guy in CNBC. So in January, I think 26, he come on TV. He was shaking, his hands was shaking, his voice was shaking. He said, "Yeah, Melvin Capital is out of the stock." See, the wording is important. He said the Melvin Capital is out of the stock.
Mm-hmm.
The stock was like 300, and then the stock went to 450 and then come down. But Melvin Capital made like 20 or I think 20 or 30% in February. If they are out of the stock, how they make money when the stock coming down?
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
the numbers don't add up here. It's just
Yeah.
pure manipulation.
Well, I guess it could be from other investments. Theoretically, it doesn't.
No. The news is that they are they lost again in I think June on the GameStop.
Oh yeah, no, I mean they're down. I think something said that they'd lost like 50% of their capital this year.
Yeah, so
today.
far they
Yeah,
lost
so
that
far.
much.
But what I'm saying is like the profits in February are not necessarily because of GameStop. It could be other
You
things,
can't
but
say that.
I would say the losses are almost guaranteed to be because of this.
But that's the thing. What I believe is that what I think it's happened is that, as I said, I mean, a short seller need to buy it. So if you short 100% of the stock, okay, you need to come and convince 50% of the shareholder to give their stock to you in order for you to cover. Okay, so I assume they have more than 100% short, but why would they stop? So the more shorts you have, the more percentage of the people you need to convince to sell their position to you. And then don't forget, according to CNBC, Melvin Capital was down $16 billion. $16 billion at one point. Melvin Capital has $11 billion at the beginning of this, so they were down $5 billion. Okay, they were down more than what they all have in the long position, down $5 billion. They get 3.2, I think, billion from two companies, but they still were down more than that. An average person will get margin call. I mean, I get margin call a couple of times before, so you get margin call if you can't cover your margin. But these people, they go over the margin call, they go negative 6 billion, and they just only cover that with 3 billion.
Do you think,
So
yeah, that's the reason that we've seen like an increasing amount being traded in the reverse repo market? Do you think that's where they're going for money and liquidity?
I mean, that's a little strange. It's possible. I mean, why would all of a sudden this hundreds of billions of dollar,
Yeah.
money is just traded? I mean, what's the problem in the banking system? I mean, you see the banking stock are coming down. I personally, I think these hedge funds, because I think it's impossible for these shorts to cover because the other side is not selling. So they have only one option, to spread their shorts. So they're spreading their shorts to the banking system. That's what I think. So they're spreading the short to the banking system. So if something happened, the banking system will get a bailout for the government. So these people can go inside and say, okay, you give the banks the bailout, you need to give us some bailout too. That's what I'm thinking happened in the last 6 months. Nothing about GameStop is normal. Nothing about news you hear about GameStop in TV is normal. Nothing that they wrote in Benzinga, that's all different websites, that news agency is normal. I don't trust any of them.
Yeah. Well, that feels like a very nice way to finish things. Mo, I really want to thank you for your time. It's been
Thank you for
really
having me.
interesting to talk to you. So if
You too.
do you want to point people towards your Twitter or something, places they can find you?
My Twitter is Mo_HRMZ. I mean, I mean, somebody Reddit told me that you should change your family to ass, so it's gonna be Moss, you know. So I wrote that. It seems appropriate. And, and I just want to finish with something else. Right now, in Iran, there is a lot of protests going on around different cities, especially the province of Khuzestan. They don't have water, you know. The government just screw up everything, and a lot of people already has been killed by the government. You know, we don't have guns in our country. We don't have Second Amendment in our country, so government just the only entity who owns the gun, and a lot of people are dying. I have friends who has family there. The internet is shut down. We don't have internet in a lot of cities in Iran, and I just want to create more exposure for those Iranians. You know, my brother and sister who are, I mean, suffering in Iran. I just want to tell them that I stand with them, and I hope they can overcome this government.
Yeah, well, I hope so too, for your sake, for your family's sake, and for the Iranian people as well. Yeah. So, Mo, thanks very much. It's been great.
Thank you so much. It was great. Thank you.
Thanks for making it all the way to the end of the podcast. Don't forget our sponsor, ExpressVPN, and my book, Brexit, The Establishment Civil War, can both be found in the links in the description below. And also, please like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. It's the best way to help us grow. Until next time, thanks for listening.
The animal dragged a child around its enclosure. The child had fallen into that enclosure. Officials are now defending their actions. ABC's Alex.
A few things I am not. I am not a cat. I am not an institutional investor. Nor am I a hedge fund.
There's no panic selling. These people, they may have bought at $4, sat through $400, went back to 40, went to 350, back down to 110, and they have not sold. All they've done is bought more. And there's no answer for that. There's no, it is like art of war mastery by a bunch of idiots who should know better. And they're just like,
I'm not fucking leaving.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars.
What's been happening on Reddit and in social media and in the marketplace has never been seen before.
To short 70, 60, 80% of a company, let alone 140%, I think a lot of people universally believe something is wrong there.
They're powerful. They want a stock higher. It's child's play. Why ever sell into the maw of Wall Street, Reddit bets? Why?
But everyone's wrong. It's like The Big Short again. Or more like The Big Short Squeeze this time, right?
So here we got the fox guarding the hen house, and one of the hens is complaining the fox is out to kill us, and the farmer says, I'm sorry, the fox is in charge of the hen house.
Whenever there is not billions, but like trillions of dollars involved in something, I argue that nothing is off the table.
The way they have absolutely cheated, stolen, robbed everyday people so all our hedge fund billionaire friends can get out and not get killed is one of the most remarkable, illegal, shocking robberies in the history, in plain sight.
Superstonk and the other communities that have emerged are a hive mind, the likes of which we have never seen before. It's madness and brilliance, insanity and genius all rolled into one. It's very possible that Citadel will be gone in a few months. And not just Citadel, but the entire financial system has the potential to come crashing down. These crooks continue to gamble recklessly with the world economy, and this could be the moment that they finally get their justice.
You've got maybe 10 million people doing this who now own, probably more than 100 million shares. And eventually, they might own everything.